Hello, welcome to the New Moon Sister Circle for November 13th. We're going to stream live onto Facebook and just so that anybody can come in and watch and enjoy the practice with us later today if they'd like to. Hello,
Or another day.
Facebook, or another day. We're here for the New Moon Sister Circle, and we just welcome everybody in to come join us and in this practice that we have started together. This will be our third New Moon Sister Circle, and we're pretty excited. We've been really into astrology our whole lives, as our mother was a practicing astrologer, and she guided us through our early life with this practice of recognizing and feeling through the cycles that the different planetary energies bring into our life. Just like the cycles of the seasons, we have cycles of these energies, this pulling of the moon, of the sun, of all the planets in our lives, which really are simply the themes of our lives, cycling in and out through time and through space. So we welcome you in. Emily, do you want to give a brief description of what we do here?
Yeah. So again, this is still a pretty brand new container, and Barbara and I are still kind of tossing around ideas of what this is going to look like. But what we've figured out is that doing a live like this at the new moon allows us to help guide some people through what to do and what that looks like. And we're going to open with a little breathing exercise in a minute to kind of just drop everybody into the space and get grounded. The world is an insanely crazy place right now, so it's good to just be here. And if you're here with us, we hope that you will pull your complete attention to us and turn your phone off and turn the TV off. And if you can get some privacy from your kids or other people in your house, it would be beautiful to spend the next hour with you. Hi, everybody. Hi, Lauren.
Hi, welcome in, Lauren.
What we're going to do is we're going to drop into a little breathing exercise for a second, and then Barbara's going to guide us through what the astrology is looking like for this new moon. And then I'm going to do a really nice meditation exercise to kind of bring us down a little deeper, and then we'll go into some new moon intention writing. And after we do all that, we'll have a little closing. And then when it's a full moon, we're going to get back together in a private Zoom, so that those of you who feel called to come sit in circle with us and share openly about your intentions and what's come true for you over the next couple of weeks between now and the full moon, we can do that privately, so it feels a little more safe and not broadcast to the ethos. So that's what the container is going to look like, and we're really glad you're here. And if you're not here live, you can totally watch the replay.
Yeah, and we just ask anybody that's coming in the room to just mute their microphone so that we don't have any sound coming in from you while we do our meditation.
Okay, cool. So let's kind of drop in. If everybody wants to just close their eyes, and I like to place my hands on my heart and my belly just to kind of feel my body and feel my breath a little better. We're just going to take 3 nice, deep, big cleansing breaths together. So on the inhale, I'm going to take a nice deep breath in through your nose, all the way to the top of your breath. At the very top of your breath, you want to sip in just a little bit more air, hold your head high. And on the exhale, make some noise. Breathing all the way out. When you breathe out, clench your kegels and really squeeze to feel yourself on the earth. Another deep inhalation through your nose. Sipping a little bit more air at the top a couple times. And then when you exhale, breathe it all the way out with a big, awesome sigh. One more nice deep breath in through your nose. And exhale all the way out, shaking off everything you came in here with. Let the earth have it. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes back up. We're back in the room now. We're all together. Forgot my candle.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Yeah.
Let's get that shit lit.
Yeah.
If you have a candle, light it. This kind of connects us all in the grid together as sisters and friends and brothers and humans. Maybe there's some aliens here with us today.
I'm gonna do a little bit of Palo Santo, just let the smoke call in my mother, our ancestors, all your
Mm.
lineages into the space. And I'm gonna move us into an astrology reading just based around this new moon. And I'm gonna screen share with you so that you can see the actual astrology chart of where everything is at for today. Now I've got all of these boxes, so hold on just a second. Everybody can see everything. There we go. Oh, there it is. All right, so this is the astrology chart for today. Now, this is in Denver, Colorado, so depending on where you're located, it's going to be a little bit different. But as you can see, this is our astrology wheel, and we've got Venus and the moon and the sun, Mars. You can see my little mouse tracking around Mercury, Pluto, Saturn, Uranus, Chiron, the north node of the moon. And so the south node is over here directly across, and Jupiter as well as Uranus. So, what we've been coming out of from the last time that we gathered was October 14th. And this was actually the lunar eclipse. And the lunar eclipse was on the axis of Taurus and Scorpio, which is the bull and the scorpion. I love thinking of these animal archetypes to really hone in on what is the meaning behind these signs. Certainly mythology and things like that in different cultures plays into our understanding of these archetypes. But we've had a 2-year cycle of eclipses in Scorpio and Taurus. And Taurus, you can think of as the bull. And there's different aspects to the bull. There's kind of a negative and a positive connotation. So we have like a Ferdinand the bull type archetype, the gentle bull, the divine cow archetype. And on the other side of that, we have the Minotaur, kind of the demonic bull figure, Baphomet, we can think of as well with the horns. And really, we see this in humanity. We see this, these two different angles. Scorpio on the other side of this axis is the scorpion tail. And so I like to think of poison and medicine. A little bit of poison can actually be medicine, and too much medicine can actually be poison. And I can really see over the last couple years from the pandemic, right, with all of these health and medical things going on. And with the bull, like, how are we embracing these different qualities of our divinity and our fight, fight or flight? Are we the prey? Are we the predator? These kinds of energies. And so that cycle playing out over the last couple years, this last lunar eclipse was the last eclipse that occurs on that axis. So we're moving from that axis into the next eclipse that will happen, will be on the axis of Gemini. So it's just a totally different quality. So just to kind of sum up what that is, because it really plays into the moon energies altogether. The Scorpio Taurus axis would be like what you have, your resources in Taurus, with what you can create in Scorpio. So, what do you create with what you have? And your resources can be anything from money, it can be possessions that you have, it can be friends that you have, it can be philosophies that you have, it can really be anything that you have. But then, what do we do with that to create our self-realization and find our self-realization? But also, what do we create in the world with our resources on a grander scale? So we're moving now with going into Gemini, and I'll show you where this is, right? So here's Scorpio and Taurus. And so the axis is going to shift into Gemini and Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is what we think. Yeah. I mean, sorry, Gemini is what we think. And then moving into Sagittarius is what do we perceive? So how do we take our natural thought patterns and sort of create a perception, because when you have your thoughts, there is a point there where you have a choice to harmonize your perception with the rest of the energies around you. And so, how do we perceive with what we think? So, we're kind of discerning the architecture of our vision. And then, how do we express and how do we feel through our projections um, from that impetus? Just a little bit about what's leading us into this new moon. So Saturn went direct on November 4th. Saturn is boundaries, limitations, restrictions, laws, certainly the justice system. These kind of energies are high right now, but our personal sense of justice as well, our personal boundaries, and our personal liberation. So Saturn went direct out of a retrograde. So we may have been going back through some previous cycles with these kinds of ideas. On the 8th of November, Venus went into Libra. And this was a really nice feeling because Libra is a balancing energy. And so with Venus, Venus is our sensual experience, the experience of our senses. That can certainly be sensuality in a sexual way, but it can also be sensuality, just like I was talking about with our perception. And so these themes of how we feel and how we perceive, as you can see, are definitely coming into the new moon. Mercury went into Sagittarius on the 10th. Mercury is the messenger. So it's the messages that we receive from the universe and also the messages that we give to the universe, just on a grand scale. A lot of symbolism, lots of this repeating numbers. You might also see this visually in actual symbols, a triangle, certain animal archetypes that you've seen repetitively, certain words you might see on repeat, or just themes in general. But pay attention to those because there's a reason why, Mercury went into Sagittarius. Sagittarius is this kind of energy of wanderlust and like a divine quest. So early in life, we tend to have this like idea, like to be driven, this feeling of being driven towards a mission. Like, I know I have to do this. I don't necessarily know why, but I know I feel that I have to do this. It's intuition. Sagittarius has to also do with intuition. Later in life, as we develop and kind of move through life, this becomes a divine quest. You become really connected to these missions that you have. Like, I've committed myself to helping others in this way. I've committed myself to helping humanity in this way. So definitely a good idea to pay attention to the messages you're receiving and what you're putting out. Are you just lustfully wandering and creating these intentions without fully thinking through before you go out on your mission? So really taking some time with that. So the new moon, which is happening today, actually 2:30 in the morning, it was the peak of the new moon. There's this Mars-Uranus opposition that happened on the 11:11 portal. A lot of people were talking about this. It certainly is one of the most significant aspects of the year for 2023. So it has to do with Mars, which is action, and Uranus, which is how you define yourself outside of the collective. What are the edges that define you, that make you who you are, and all those qualities? And so when it comes to action and self-preservation, we are definitely seeing this on a world scale right now. The definition of culture, cultural lines, the definition of spiritual lines, how do you define yourself within your spiritual or religious practices? And so when it comes to those edges of how we define ourselves, and we feel maybe our self-definition may be threatened in some way or has been threatened in the past, even in, the ancient lineage that we come from. This is a big deal. People really not only feel personally threatened, but may carry some ancestral trauma around their ancestral lineage and how they define themselves. And so not only personally, but on a grand scale in the world, how do you defend these things that define you? How do you preserve your sense of self? And how do you take action to do that? And this can create all kinds of either conflict in your life or resolution. So, how do you defend yourself without creating conflict? How can you remain in your divine bowl? How can you ensure that your action is medicine for the world and not poison for the world? Okay. Um, that really leads us into this new moon. Um, the new moon energy really can bring up a lot of questions then for us, right? Um, the questions that I came up with, these are just some things to think about when we set our intentions. What can I create with the resources that I have? What do I perceive with my thought patterns? What do I choose to perceive? What boundaries can you liberate from? Do these boundaries truly free you, or do they create more restrictions? Do they imprison you? What do I protect myself from in life? You can think of that on a personal scale and even on a political, spiritual scale. It's really important for us to be doing this work right now. How can I act out of love instead of fear? So when we take action with Mars, often we have the experience in the past of taking action and maybe falling on our ass a lot. So are we acting out of fear because of past experiences? Really understanding fear and how that can affect us and moving into a space of acting from a place of love to make medicine in the world. Does my sense of self limit the potency of my actions? So, are you limiting yourself from really acting from your greatest version of yourself? And finally, is my vision clear? So, the full moon in Gemini coming up on the 27th is where we are really going to harvest the intentions that we're setting through the new moon. So the full moon will be in Gemini, moving into that new axis that will be the next 2 years of eclipses into that Gemini Sagittarius. So, what are my thought patterns? Am I clear about my own thought patterns? And how can I make a choice with those thought patterns to perceive things with clarity? So those are the questions that I came up with. And I'm just going to stop my screen share now. And I am going to make Emily the host because she is going to play us some really beautiful music and guide us through some breath work and some meditation. So
Yeah, before I go into that, I just want to kind of introduce why we're doing this next part. It's become wildly clear to me over the past couple of years how vital and important it is to connect with your body and to get quiet and to remember that you're breathing and you have this vessel and it's kind of working for you without you having to think about it. And so to slow down and to get conscious and aware about that really opens up a lot of space in your heart and in your mind and in your soul for some other interesting and beautiful thoughts and feelings to come through. And just the act of kind of getting quiet and slowing down, it's incredibly helpful to yourself, but also what we're learning about vibration and frequency in the world. It has the potential to, ripple out. And so, in my very humble opinion, one of the most powerful things we can be doing as humans on this planet is living in our dream and doing the things that fulfill us and going out and DJing the drum and bass show that makes us feel on fire, because that energy and that frequency just reverberates out. And seek the knowledge and the wisdom that's going to help you feel more sound and sane with who you are as a person, and cry the tears that you need to cry and rub them into your heart, and take these actions, because when we do this, it just has this ripple effect. And it might sound woo-woo and I don't really give a fuck what any of you think anymore, so it can sound woo-woo all at once, but I do believe that this reverberates out and has the ability to reach people in another country who are struggling and at war right now. So it's really vital that we do this work. And Barbara and I, our mission right now is to kind of help teach people how to do some of these things who don't have access to it and can't pay for it. So this is free love. All right, so I want to a little bit introduce, I'm going to do a little bit of a guided meditation just to drop us in, and then we're going to do a humming exercise today. And so the act of a humming meditation has been scientifically proven to slow the heart rate down, and it releases nitric oxide in the brain, which is known to be healing. And it just can do all these really powerful things for your nervous system. The vagus nerve gets calmed down, and we can kind of regulate. So when you hum, this isn't a performance. It's not about humming on key or singing a song or anything. It's about connecting with the vibration that's within your body and feeling your vocal cords vibrate. And there's a couple different ways to do it. You can just sit quietly and hum. And if you want to hum on tune, great. You'll notice that when you do that, you'll feel like a natural resonance, and you'll realize that you're on key and when you're off key. Or you can do what they call the bumblebee practice, the humming bee breath. And you can place your thumbs really gently on your ears and just kind of close your ears a little bit real gently, and place your hands over your eyes. And when you get into that position, play with your ears a little bit and opening them and closing them. And when you start humming, you will feel the vibration all the way throughout your body. It's very, very powerful. So I will guide you through that when the time is right. But for now, if everybody just wants to close their eyes, I'm going to play a little bit of music. Okay, so we're going to take a nice deep breath in through our nose and out through our mouth, just at your own pace. And with every exhale you take while we're breathing, I'd like you to imagine that all the troubles of the day and all the worries and all the anxieties that you've got right now about your children and your family and your friends and the money in the world, you're just going to blow it out as if you're disintegrating it into the air. And with every inhale, I'd like you to imagine calling in the things that you'd like to start focusing on in your life, whether it's love or beauty or creativity or art. Maybe it's play, maybe it's laughter. I want you to listen to your breath. On the inhale, it sounds kind of crisp and clean when it comes in. It's very nasally through your nose. And when you breathe out, you just open your mouth and let it pour out. You're going to ground with the earth on exhale. Notice how that exhalation happens more within the depth of your chest. It's kind of right in your central body here. We're just going to take a nice few deep breaths together at your own pace. And if you'd like, you can press your hand upon your heart, skin to skin. And just press firmly enough so that you can start to feel your heartbeat. If you listen closely enough, you'll hear it in your ears and you'll feel it in your hand. You realize how connected it all is. You feel the vibration of your breath. Inhale and exhale. I'm now going to guide us through this humming exercise. You cannot mess this up. There's no wrong way to do this. These women are humming, and you'll notice they inhale, and then on the exhale, they're going to hum. Barbara and I are going to mute ourselves so that you can have privacy to do this in your own space. I just invite you to lean all the way into this exercise. Okay, you can start closing out your little humming ceremony. Just wanted to read you about the benefits of humming real quick to remind you how powerful that can be. Humming reduces the number of thoughts that fill your head. When you are humming, there is little room for overthinking. Humming puts a smile on your face. Well, it certainly does for me anyway. Humming slows down your breathing rate significantly. If you're having a bout of negativity, jump straight into a few rounds of hum and notice a shift in your thinking. It calms your nervous system as it activates the parasympathetic nervous system. It can help relieve insomnia, sleep patterns, and perfect for inducing a deep sleep without dreams. And then humming creates a wonderful circuit of energy in your body, revitalizing its cells and charging its chakras. So powerful and beautiful. And so I think what we'll do now is I'll put some music on for us and we can go through this intention writing. So you want to get out your journal and your pen. Take a sip of your tea or water if you have it. Barbara's putting the list of questions in the chat for those of you that are with us on the Zoom. So you can revisit that if you get stuck. We just invite you to lean all the way into this exercise as well. Get your pen out. Start doing a little writing. All right, ladies, go ahead and finish up what you're writing. How'd you do, Barbie? You're on mute.
I really just went through the questions that I came up with. And so I made a list of resources that I have that I can create with. And that is my creativity itself, my thoughts, my relationships, my networks, my astrology, my teaching, my the superfoods that I offer, I consider to be a resource to offer to others as well. And I just stated my perception is guided by my heart. I want to be heart centered when I'm trying to seek clarity in what I'm seeing and what I take from that. My financial boundaries and my income is something that has been perceivably limited and like not bountiful. So that's a restriction that I have that I've been working through for a while, and I've seen some growth with that. So I want to keep focusing on that. I want to have this restriction of communication cleared with several different pathways right now in my life. So I have an intention to be clear and organized with my communication, with the intention, behind it. I seem to have restrictions and boundaries with seeking partnership in my life, trying to find partnership and love and with people that will be available for authentic connection. So that's another intention that I'm always cultivating. Love over fear happens for me by grounding in my spirit, my practices of spirituality and self-expression and creation. When I stick with my practices and I go out and express myself and share my songs and I'm dancing, something happens for me that keeps me heart-centered. It releases blocks for me, so it keeps me in my heart. I also noted that fear clouds my vision and my perception. And I can't just thought of the quote, nothing to fear but fear itself, which then brought me to think about when is fear an actual gift? Like, when is it actually a positive thing to fear? And I noted when you're in immediate danger. And so I made a list of things that scare me. And I listed violence. And I actually just signed up for a defense and first aid class. It's about defending your home, and being able to apply first aid should anything ever happen in your house. Loneliness scares me. Even when I'm surrounded by a multitude of people, I can tend to really pull into loneliness instead of kind of cherishing my solitude and then moving out of it. I can kind of hang in loneliness. And so I noted get out the house, duh, like go do something. And money, financial responsibility. And so really and I've been doing this, I've been leaning into the different ways that I make money, doing things that I enjoy doing, like dance and music and my health coaching with nutrition. And so I just noted to do for myself what we call a mini marathon, which is where I just really reach out and reach out and reach out to find people that are interested. Because if you don't reach out, then there's no net. You can't catch any fish without casting a net. So those are my intentions for the new moon. Or for
Barbara, you are doing some incredible deep thinking and work with yourself right now. I'm just so sincerely impressed. The older we get, the more wise we get for sure. But it's a trip to, this is my sister. We've grown up together. We've been so immature in many parts of our lives. And I feel like we're finally reaching this place in both of our lives where we're stepping into this authentically adult way of being, which sometimes we have to access by going back to being a child, which is an interesting way of thinking of it. One of my favorite humans on the planet right now, Blue, talks about the only person I really want to impress is my 5-year-old self. Mm-hmm. And I love that. And the older I get, especially now in my late 40s, I really don't give a shit what other people think about me. I'm here doing this live, unhinged. Like there's not really a lot of preparation that goes into this. And whether I screw it up or not, or how I look, or what I look like when I'm doing my humming and holding my heart, like I really don't care what anybody thinks of me. It's a beautiful place to be. It's a beautiful practice.
Well, and
So,
that thing about returning to your child, I just wanted to mention because I saw somebody sent me a post by this comedian woman. I can't remember her name right now, but she's a dancer and I'm a dancer. And she did this whole thing where she was saying there's somebody that did a research study about human genius and found that like 90 something percent of 5-year-olds would be considered genius. And by the time they get to like 10 or 12, that goes down to like 40 something percent. And by the time you're about 18 to 21, it goes down to 2%.
Yeah.
And so staying in that childlike mind and being able to have the creativity to like, reach around scenarios and situations and find a solution is very much having that childlike mind, being able to approach things with the newness of a child. So I love it that you said that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. And I wanted to bring up that word fear. I love the acronym. Is that the right word? False evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
I know Barbara, but I did this women's retreat last weekend before last weekend, and I was cracked open a little bit before that retreat, and I am like filleted open like a Humpty Dumpty egg at this point. I'm just like heart wide open. It completely cracked me open. But one of the exercises that we did was to, write out all of our beliefs about an area of our life. It could be anything: love, career, spirituality, and then you write out your beliefs, what you're telling yourself about why you can't achieve success in that particular area, why you're having trouble. And with every belief, then you go through and you ask yourself if it's 100% true or not. And if it's not 100% true, then you have to create a new belief around it. And so I was kind of doing an extension of that exercise. I've done so much writing. I've devoted myself every morning for 15 minutes every single morning to writing out the new beliefs I have about the intimacy with my husband and some of the things I'm feeling and thinking into about maybe changing career path. So it's interesting practice. And one of the questions I wrote at the top of my page was, who am I uninterrupted? Like if there was no barriers and no obstacles and all the money and no excuses, like who would I be if I could do all the things I want to do in the world? And what would it feel like? And what would it look like? So I will for sure share more about my whole list. I know we're kind of getting close to running out of time, but God, I honor you so deeply, Barbara. I honor everybody who showed up today for just taking a little slice out of your time. And if you're watching the replay, I honor you for showing up and just giving it a try. If you've never done anything like this, if you're a man and you just wanted to see like what this is all about and what we're doing, thank you for showing up. We deeply respect your role here. Like we all are in this together. We all need to be in it together. So I just want to thank everybody for showing up, and I'm so grateful that we're doing this, Barbara. It just feels like the most magical time to spend with you. If you have a sister, grab her and bring her in here and do this with her. It's so beautiful.
Absolutely. And don't forget that this is guiding us into the full moon, which is where we take a look at how we've harvested these intentions, these seeds that we've planted for ourselves. And I know I can say for me that this practice just over the last couple of months has really helped me center my intentions, what am I doing and what, instead of kind of like flitting and flailing about with my thoughts every day, really letting it be intention driven. And of course, when we think of farming, if you're planting seeds, the more that you tend to those seeds, the better your harvest will be. So between now and the full moon, which happens in 2 weeks, really take a little time each day if you can, every other day, even if it's just once a week over the next 2 weeks, to sit down with this, or even if it's just before we meet for the full moon, really looking at this and considering where has the cycle taken me now? Yeah. Because we're going to get to like the first quarter moon after 1 week. And then, we'll work our way to the full moon, not after 1 week, but after a half a week, the moon moves into the full moon. So all of those stages and phases, like start to pay attention to the cycle. And we will gather again for the full moon. But on the full moon, we will have a private Zoom. So it will not be streamed live to Facebook. And this is where we can really use each other as a resource. Am I seeing clearly? We can share personally about what we're going through and help each other. My mom used to say, everybody lives inside of a box, and the directions on how to get outside of the box are written on the outside of the box. So it's good to do this work for yourself, but sometimes other people, that trusting relationships, can show you things about yourself that you could never see on your own. So let us collaborate with each other and let us come together and help each other with this intention of clear vision too. And that will be, what is that date? I feel like I wrote it down. So yeah, on the 27th of November. So right after Thanksgiving. Yay.
Yeah. So we may not do it exactly on that day. We don't have it
Yeah.
set, but right around that time frame, we'll get back together. And
Yeah.
I think the other
Indigenous
powerful thing
Day, I
about,
should say.
about sharing in a circle is that when you're able to just kind of freely express what it is that you're thinking and feeling, the act of just opening your mouth and letting it out to a safe room of people who will receive it with love is, there's something so powerful about that. It almost manifests it in a more full way, to not only write it down and get it out of your head onto paper, but then to express it using your voice and that vibration that we created during the meditation. Like, it all works together. So really cool stuff.
Great. So yeah, we'll get some information out to anybody who was watching today on Facebook or who has been with us here in the Zoom. We'll make sure and let you guys know for the full moon Zoom.
Yes.
And I hope everybody has a beautiful, beautiful week ahead. And yes, enjoy your time. We'll see you then.
Farewell.
All
Until
right.
next time.
Yes. Bye-bye, face.